All right. Hopefully you all can hear me okay. My name is Jane Napora, and I'm one of the counselors here at Foothill Technology High School. And thank you for joining us this evening. I also have Toria Vasquez joining us. She's from Ventura College, and she's going to provide us with all the essential information from Ventura College that we so desperately need, since so many of our students do go to Ventura College as an option. So I will also put the presentation, I'll share it with you and I'll put it in the chat. So that way you can look at any of the links that might interest you along the way. I should have captured the link before I started. Thanks for your patience. I'm still trying to get back into Zoom mode. All right, so the presentation is in the chat. So if you'd like to go ahead and access that, you can. I will also send it out via email and post it on our website. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to just talk a little bit about who is on our team. We'll also give you some information about the data on last year's graduates and what kind of decisions they made as far as college decisions. And then we'll also get a little bit into applying to college 2- and 4-year, share some timelines, talk a little bit about the FAFSA and DREAM Act application. And then we'll also talk about scholarships and some resources and some other important details for seniors, like the date of graduation and ordering cap and gown and things like that. Okay, so if you aren't familiar with our counseling team already, this is a picture of them. We are missing Nicole Hofferbert in this picture, but she is our registrar. She is all things essential as far as sending transcripts. So if you ever have a question about sending transcripts to different colleges and universities, she is our go-to for that. We also have Mr. Boyd. He helps students whose last names begin with A through GR. I assist students GS or GU through O. Miss Vega is P through Z. We also have Mr. Jordan, who helps with our social emotional needs on campus, running our essential support groups. And then we also have Miss Burgess. She is in our media center, career center. She is the one that sends you the emails about our newsletter for the Career Center, as well as shares information about essential college visits and visitors coming to our campus, so students can learn more about who's coming to our campus and what kind of universities are out there. She also helps with Chromebooks and all the other essentials like textbooks. So just to give you some information about our class of 2022, although most of our students do meet those A through G requirements, known as the college prep requirements, many move to 4-year university, but many also choose to attend a 2-year college. And of the 49% of students who chose to attend a 2-year college last year, 91% attended a Ventura College. So that's why we have Victoria here today to help guide us through some information about Ventura College. All right, Victoria, would you like to take it from here?
Yes, thank you so much. So like I said, my name is Victoria Vasquez. I also go by Toria. Normally we have our main outreach specialist, Victoria Nielsen, coming usually present, but she's off at a conference learning more about how we could better support our students and so much more. Here's a photo of our team. So we also have Alejandra, who's also an outreach specialist who also used to work at Moore Park. So if your students ever have questions about Moore Park programs, she's a good resource. Vanessa Stotler, she's the director of outreach and marketing. When we have our student workers, Jason, Jasmine, and Marcos, who currently attend Ventura College and now work in our office, coming out with us on events and whatnot. So there's definitely opportunities to also be on our team as VC students. So it's a great student worker option as well. Can you go to the next slide, please?
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay, so steps to enrollment. Now, it's a very simple process applying to Ventura College. Generally, when applying to a California community college, they need to create a CCC Apply account. So they just go onto the college website of wherever they want to go. There's usually an apply enroll button in the somewhere on the main page, and they go forth with creating the CCC Apply account. In that step, they do need their social security number if they do have one. If whatever reason they're undocumented, they're a permanent resident, or any other reason they may not have one, we can help them out with that with indicating the correct steps for that. So there is definitely hands-on help at our workshops that we do offer. Applications have opened on October 1st, so they are currently available right now for students to complete. They're completely free. So the first step is the CCC Apply account. Once they do that, then it goes forth with creating their actual Ventura College application, whatever community college they're applying to. Fairly simple questions about, residency, their current academic status, and other personal questions like that. And so typically it can get done within 30 minutes or less, depending on the student and the questions that are being answered. We will have workshops at Foothill High School coming up, and we will, at the end of my presentation, we'll have those specific dates so you can screenshot, take a photo, whatever. We encourage you all to tell your students to take advantage of any opportunity if we're on campus or we're offering anything off campus for students to attend, because it's a good time for them to get the information needed. There's been situations where students, think they only need to apply, not even thinking about these further steps here. So they also need to activate their portal and do their online orientation. They need to plan their courses. So the next step would be, doing their MAP workshop, and then forth with meeting a counselor, depending on which program they're following, or any other resources such as that. Of course, registering for their classes as well. So they plan their courses, but a lot of them don't think they actually have to actually enroll online as well. So we tell them all this information again when we meet with them one-on-one and in group settings, and give them these apply to enroll lists. So it has all the information as a checklist for them to follow, who to contact, and of course they can always reach out to the outreach department and figure out, I did step A, B, C, what else do I need to do? So we are always there to answer those questions. Next slide, please. So a little bit about Ventura College. We are conveniently, across the street from you all, so it's not that much of a distance from where your students are currently attending. Our East Campus offers 3 specific degrees, such as our arts and humanities areas, behavioral and social sciences, and our vet tech program, which is becoming really popular with our students and is a cohort base. At our main campus, we offer plethora of majors and programs on our campus as well. And at both campuses, students have access to academic counselors and their resources, such as, financial aid assistance. We also have a basic needs pantry. So if students, need to grab a snack or apply for some sort of food assistance program or anything such as that, we do offer those resources. And at both campuses, we have drive-through events twice a month on Tuesdays, where we hand out bags of groceries for students and have additional programs and services at our school attending, so students can learn about them. So there's always an accessibility for students to learn about what's available to them and get the help that they need. So even if they are, they are financially equipped to afford to buy a $5 granola bar or whatever. It, free is free. We're not going to ask questions about their status or anything like that. We just need their ID number and they can get whatever they need. So we like to have everything accessible for as many students as we can. We also have ESL open house, open house and orientation options. So we do have selected dates for our semesters at our campuses as well. And then for our tuition, sorry, finding a cold. For our tuition, a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of people ask how much our classes are, and unsure about how that process works. So if you're familiar with community college, you're paying per unit. So it's $46 per unit. So if a student is taking 12 units, multiply that by $46. That's how much their courses are going to be, not including their other fees like their health fee, their student fee, or anything like that. But there are opportunities to get financial assistance, of course, through financial aid and scholarship programs as well. So these are different pathways. So, going to a community college, every student has their own individual goal of what they want to do. Some people may want to just go and get an associate's degree and be done. Maybe some want to go and get their general education courses completed and transfer out to a 4-year, whether that's in-state or out-of-state. Some are not even sure what their goal are. There's something for everyone, and Ventura College is a great place to figure out what they want to do. So we do have our career pathways. So that's our career education programs, which we'll have on the next slide. But I actually am the career education outreach specialist. So I specifically go out to our high schools and our community to promote our career education program. So those lead students into getting either a proficiency award, a certificate, or an associate's degree to learn the skills and knowledge of a particular major, and then go into the workforce. So a lot of them are really hands-on stuff, because welding, we have our agriculture programs, nursing, and so many others, which we'll see in the next slide. An associate's degree, if you're not familiar, is a degree that meets the minimum of 60 degree applicable units. And this is going to include the students' general education classes. I would say this is kind of equivalent to their high school A through G requirements, when they're required to take a certain amount of math, sciences, arts, electives, things such as that, but at the college level. So a counselor can go over all this information with them as far as, which classes they should be taking. And it gets really specific on their major. So their major emphasis requirements or their major preparation or the classes they need if they're planning on going to a 4-year college, or they plan on getting an associate's degree in a particular area. And then, of course, our transfer pathways. So we have associate's degrees that you'll see have like AST or AAT, or maybe they're more UC specific. So these are associate's degree pathways that can lead them directly into either getting a Cal State or a UC. But they're not always limited. It kind of just helps them if a student is strictly applying to Cal States, it can help them getting into that level. But all these pathways and everything, there's a lot of details between them. So, and especially for students trying to apply to a private or an out of state or anything like that, a counselor can go over all this information with them. And we do have our transfer center as well that offers workshops to kind of help break down this information and support the student with whatever their goal is in their education. Next slide, please. So these are our career education programs that we offer. So we offer different areas of agriculture, and vet tech is within that program. We have like ag business. Our field supervisor is more of a proficiency award, like a training program. Food safety, we offer certificates. Plant science, also associate's degree and certificates. We have our architecture and drafting, automotive career education, business, many different business pathways, our CNA program, which is a prerequisite for the nursing program. So if your students are interested in our nursing program specifically, a CNA certificate is required, whether that they complete it at Ventura College or another college. We also have child development, construction technology, criminal justice, diesel mechanics, advanced manufacturing, our EMT, and paramedic program, medical assisting, nursing science, as I said, police science, water science, and welding. So you'll see in a lot of these, they're really industry-based careers. So if your student is unsure of what they want to study, these are some programs I, would encourage them to look at, or even come and reach out to me about, because a lot of them are really needed jobs, whether it's in the county or, nationally as well. So more than willing to talk to students about these different pathways, and they are stackable as well. You don't always have to just follow one program. They can go into many at a time, or they can kind of lead to one another. So have them check it out on our website, and they can learn more about the career opportunities, see our facilities and videos, and if they offer any information sessions. So I do presentations about these programs, but a student can also reach out to me individually for that. Next slide, please. And going back to what I said about the cost per unit for our classes, so it is $46 per unit, but it is, very, very cheap compared to going to a 4-year right away. So it's very cost efficient in that time that your student is saving to go to a 4-year college. But we also have our own program as well to help assist with tuition fees, which is the VC Promise. So this is going to cover their first 2 years of their college tuition. So additional fees or costs such as, books or supplies won't be covered, but it'll cover their enrollment fee, the student health fee, the student center fee, it will not cover the student health fee, student center fee, and rep fee. All their courses will be covered. So the requirements are listed here. So they do need to apply for the FAFSA of the California Dream Act. So we've offered many workshops throughout these past month and a half on our campus. We also have Moore Park and Oxnard College. We're actually having another event tomorrow night called Cash for College. If anyone's heard of this, it's where we assist students with the financial aid application. So your parents are more than welcome to come as well, just because, we'll be needing your tax information and any other information from the student. So tomorrow night is our Cash for College event at our Santa Paula campus, which is the East Campus for Ventura College. So if you do have questions about that, please feel free to email me, and I will put my email in the chat before I leave too. That way, if you have any questions about career education, resources, Ventura resources, or Cash for College, I can send you that. Excuse me. But in order to apply for the VC Promise, students are required to fill out a VC application, a financial aid application, be enrolled in 12 units, and it's not income based, and there's no separate application for the promise. They just need to fulfill all these requirements, and the VC Promise will be applied to their account. If they do have any issues at all where it didn't reflect or whatever like that, they can contact the financial aid office. Next slide, please. Some other resources on our campus, such like I talked about earlier, is our transfer center. So students have questions about our TAG program, which is where they can get into one of these UCs guaranteed, depending on their major. So there are requirements in a separate application process. So this is definitely a good option if a student is interested in being UC bound. And other schools are in there as well that are out of state. We also have extended opportunity programs and services, which we call EOPS. This is a good program for students who are economically and educationally disadvantaged. There's different aspects to a student that may require additional support. So this is a great program to look into. And there is a separate application process for this as well. We have our Educational Assistance Center, which is the EAC, but it's also known as DSPNS. It's for students who have any type of disabilities or have had an IEP or a 504 and during high school. So as far as the requirements for these specific programs, they are all listed on the individual websites of these programs. So it's just additional support for student to get whatever possibly they had in high school transferred over to their college and more. The EAC helps out with in classroom stuff if they need additional, maybe if they need additional testing time, note taking, one-on-one tutoring, individual counseling, and so many other resources. So I highly recommend checking them out to see if your student would qualify or is interested in looking into these programs. And one I definitely would encourage your students to look into is our FYE program, which is first year experience. So this is a great support for all students entering their first year, especially if they're first generation, no one in their family has gone to college before, and they need, that extra push or foundation to kind of get them through their time in community college. So they help them with many things. They have their own separate orientation. They get personal academic support, priority registration, which is huge. If they apply for the first year experience program, priority registration is a huge thing for students because they can get the classes that they want at a earlier rate usually. So it's like a first pick thing. We also have MESA, which is mathematics, engineering, and science achievement program. So if your student is interested in majoring in mathematics, engineering, any type of science major that revolves around that, even if it's not strictly directly one of those majors, but something related to it, highly encourage students to look into that because there's opportunities to travel to conferences, get extra opportunities for scholarships, go to historically underrepresented colleges for students, and kind of encourage them to continue on with whatever career goal and college goal that they have. Next slide, please. We also have our career center. So this is a great support for students who aren't sure what they want to major in or what career path they want to follow. They do individual assessments with students or exploration kind of discussions, if they've had like a variety of ideas, but they don't know how to narrow it down. And so many other things with exploring kind of what they want to do. And then they also help out with job search and resume writing, interview skills. They throw career fairs at our campus. So we invite our industry partners in the area to come to campus and students can learn about job opportunities, future career opportunities, and just learn about whatever industry they're interested in following. We also have tutoring. So this can be in a group setting or in a one-on-one basis. They offer in person, and I believe they also start offering online during this time, but always changing every semester. But the tutors there can assist students with whatever they're learning currently that week in their class. It helps knowing who their professor is or which class they're in to kind of help prepare them for their session, and kind of help analyze their different learning styles, because every student's different in how they go about taking in material. So that's a great resource as well. And our basic needs, which I talked about earlier, which we have at both of our campuses, but we have a food pantry on campus, so students can always drop in and get whatever essentials that they need, or food for the day, or apply for CalFresh, which is our grocery assistance program. Housing referrals as well, transportation assistance. If students are in danger of being homeless or need services for homeless, if something happened suddenly, this is definitely a place students can go. And also mental health and wellness referrals as well. So it's more than just, looking at the food aspect of it. It's looking at the student holistically to kind of get them through their college experience. Next slide, please. And if anyone has any questions, this is our contact information. So our general email for our department is vcoutreach@vccd.edu. So if you had any questions about any upcoming events who may be happening, who to contact for certain things, you can always reach out to us. We also have our phone number here, but we are in and out of office all the time because we're always at schools, doing presentations at college and career fairs, doing application workshops. So I would say the best method of contact would be email for sure. But you can also follow us on social media. Our information is there for our Instagram, as well as our website. Our Instagram, we upload, where we've been at, any, deadlines coming up, or just useful information. So I encourage your students, if your seniors right now, to check out our social media and follow us, just in case, that's something that could be beneficial for them. And then I will also drop in my email in the chat. I think it's a direct message. I hope not, but I will put my email in the chat. If anything missing the pour, I can share it if it's a direct message, because I tried changing it to all, but it wouldn't let me. Yeah, it won't let me change it. Sorry, Ms. Nafara, but my email's in the chat. If you have any questions at all, you can definitely reach out to me yourself or your student and kind of help you through that. But does anyone have any questions for me regarding Ventura College?
Victoria, would you mind providing the hours of the Cash for College tomorrow at Santa Paula campus?
Yes, it is from 5 to 7 p.m. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Perfect.
So no registrations needed. You just show up. If you go onto our Ventura College website, and the main page should have a banner for the Cash for College event, which leads you to the website of the campuses, Ventura, Moore Park, and Oxnard, that are all having the event at their respective campus. And it also includes what information to bring as far as social security numbers, what tax forms, or any additional paperwork such as that to bring. So even if you may not have everything with you and you just kind of want to get started or ask questions, it's also a good place to come. We're going to have different programs there from our school. So some of the ones which I mentioned, such as, like myself, career education, maybe even, I don't know exactly the other programs, but they're usually there to give students information about what we have to offer from people who work in those offices themselves. So it's definitely going to be beneficial whether you're able to complete the financial application entirely or just make connections and start building that relationship with Ventura College and our faculty and staff that are, we're here to help students, get whatever they need to get onboarded into their first year.
Thanks. I'm just entering it wouldn't let me cut and paste your email, so I'm just entering that right now. So hopefully you all can see her email now. So if you do have any questions, they are a great resource and very helpful at Ventura College. So thank you so much for being here, Toria. I've heard from many families that if you haven't gotten the FAFSA or the California Dream Act application done and you go to the Cash for College event, families are saying that they're super efficient and they get you in and out very quickly. And once it's done, it feels like a load has been lifted from your shoulders. So it's probably the most important thing that you can do with your senior this year in helping to fund their education for next year. And completing these are a graduation requirement now. So it's important that we try to get this step done as soon as possible. So awesome. Thank you so much. We do have some dates to share with you. Ventura College will be on our campus at Foothill on December 9th, and we will be asking all students who plan or are have Ventura College as even as a safety school to submit their application on December 9th. So we will bring those students into Spirito Hall and they will fill out the application. Even if they're taking college classes right now, they do need to submit that application as a high school graduate. And so they'll be helping them with any challenges or that might come up with their application and can save them a lot of time if they come to that event on December 9th. On December 15th, just a week later, they're going to help with setting up the portal for students and making sure that that's all ready to go. Again, students will be called into Spirito Hall for that. And then March 16th, I believe it's March 16th, or we will let you know if that date changes. But I'm pretty sure it's March 16th. That's our Pirate Day, where we will take students on a field trip across the street, and then they will have a chance to meet with counselors and also the different programs that they have on campus. And by the end of that day, the students will have a plan in their hand for their educational program. So whether it be a career training program or a transfer program, they work with them to develop the program, the mapper they call it, right? So that they know exactly what classes they're going to take each semester to reach the goal, their desired goal. So super helpful. And then in April, they register for their summer or fall classes or both. for their term after they graduate. So March 16th, they'll have exactly an idea what classes they need to select for summer and fall, or just fall. And then they'll register for those classes in April.
Yes. And parents, I just want to add real quickly too, I highly encourage your students to attend or anything that we're on their campus with, because it's hands-on assistance. They're making sure they're doing it correctly. We do review their application to make sure it's good to go. But also to just kind of show face with us and make it kind of an easier process for them. They know our faces, they'll see us on campus, they can know they can go to us for support because they get familiar with us. But also to for students who are applying to 4 years and don't have plans to apply to community college, I still recommend them to apply to at least one community college, just as a backup option, just in case something happens. So even if they're not set on going to VC, they're applying to their 4 year, just still encourage them to come, just have it in their back pocket just in case.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your help.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. So moving on to information about four-year colleges. Some of you are in the middle of this right now just because many of our students have had early application deadlines of November 1st or 15th for those private or sometimes out-of-state schools. But nonetheless, I just want to share information about four-year colleges from class of 2022. 42% of those students 42% of our students chose to attend a four-year college right from high school. Of those, 25% chose to go to an out-of-state or out-of-country college or university. 26% chose the University of California system. The most common University of California system that our students attended is the UC Santa Cruz, Banana Slugs. So that's probably one of the, besides Merced and Riverside, it's more accessible to more of our students because the GPA isn't off the charts for admissions. And it's close to the ocean and has a similar, kind of a similar climate. As you know from Ventura, students want to stay close to where they can still surf in the morning and have an active lifestyle. So I think that's what's drawn them to University UC Santa Cruz. 34% chose a Cal State system, and the most common one for last year was San Diego State University. Many of you probably thought it was Cal Poly. I know it seems like a lot of our students do apply to Cal Poly, but many students chose to attend San Diego State. And then 15% chose a private school in California. So depending on which university a student is applying to, there are different processes for them to apply. There is a link here in the presentation, a step-by-step guide to four-year applications. So if they are applying to a Cal State system, that's directly to the Cal State Apply website. The deadline is November 30th. There are a few exceptions, but we share this that it's November 30th because it's pretty much November 30th for all all campuses, but there are a couple exceptions. And then also the University of California, there is a different process. You would go to the University of California admissions website, apply by November 30th. The only thing different from the application from the UC and Cal State, other than just inputting your courses, is the personal insight questions. So students do need to answer 4 out of the 8 personal insight questions. They're just an opportunity for students to share more about themselves than just courses and things that they've been involved in, and lets their personality kind of shine through on the application. But no letters of recommendation are required for the Cal State or the UC campuses. So both have November 30th deadlines. If you're applying to a school that is a Common App application school, and if you go to commonapp.org, you can see which private or out-of-school campuses use the Common Application, but their deadlines can vary. Generally, they fall around the first of the year, but not always. Sometimes they can be December 15th. Sometimes they're February 1st. So we would encourage students to go to the Common App website. They do have a Common App grid and that's posted in our presentation as well. And I'll get to that a little bit later. But you can look specifically to see what the deadlines are for those schools. And then if you're applying to a private or out-of-state school and they do not use the Common App, then you can apply directly to the university, or there's some other websites that the university might recommend to use to apply, and then you can follow these steps. So I'll get into a little bit more of that a little bit later. All right, so the UCs versus the Cal States. We encourage students to use our A through G course list that is found on the UC website to end their transcript to list exactly their courses exactly on their application as they appear on their transcript. So counselors were out visiting English classes in October, early October, and we gave every student a copy of their transcript. And you can see that each class that we offer falls into a different category. So A is for history, B is for English, C is for math, D is for science, E is for world language, and then F, visual and performing art, and then G is elective category. So that's where they get the A through G classes. So students just need to enter their courses accordingly as they are printed on the transcript. We do have this can be a little bit confusing and overwhelming for students because we do have a lot of courses on this list that are here from Edgenuity when we had to be online learning or do online learning. So students might be entering A through G modern world history for world history, but if they're following like it is on their transcript, then they know that it's written out as world history and cultures and geography. So they would need to enter that course on their application as it appears on their transcript. So as soon as they start to input the course name, it'll pop up. It only takes a few letters usually of the actual name of the course, and then the application recognizes the course itself. So it shouldn't be as difficult as it sounds. For the UC application, there is a great website. The UC Santa Barbara website has a YouTube channel. Actually, they have a YouTube channel, and they take you through all the steps of the application and can help a student if they're having challenges with the application. And it breaks it down by each part of the application. So we would encourage students to check that out or possibly subscribe to that YouTube channel. We also have freshman application data so that when you are making decisions about which campus to choose to apply to, students are making informed decisions based on maybe their grade point average. So for Berkeley, for example, we can see that they had over 50,000 applications, admitted a little over 10,000, enrolled about 4,500 students. So their admit rate was 15%. The median range for the GPA for that campus was a 4.19 to a 4.32. So that was the median range. So when students are deciding to apply to campuses, we would encourage them to look at this data and try to select their, reach campuses like I might not get in, but I'd like to give it a shot. That would be a reach. Or their middle range or good fit campuses. Like, yeah, I fall into their GPA range, and then safety, where they exceed the application data. And so that would be a safety school for that student. The Cal States, their application is due November 30th as well. Both campuses, they don't require the SAT and ACT scores. The Cal State campuses, that application will allow you to put in SAT or ACT scores, and if you submit them, they'll use them for English and math placement. the UC campuses don't actually allow you to put in the SAT or ACT scores. So that can be a load off of a student's mind. The Cal Poly YouTube channel, they do have an admissions channel. We would encourage students to check that out. They do have some great application advice for students that are applying to any Cal State campus. We also have a link here that includes, it was 2021 application data, which is very similar, but and so students can look at that data to look at the campuses of the Cal State systems and where their GPA falls. And probably the hardest Cal State to get into right now is Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, second by San Diego State University. Very challenging to get into and have high GPA requirements. So we would encourage students to look at that and make informed choices and make their selections broad when they are choosing to apply to a campus, because it can be very costly, as you parents have figured out. The private and out-of-state universities, they typically use the common application, or you can apply directly to the university. Deadlines do vary, so we would encourage students to check a school's website for specifics. Usually when students are applying to common application schools, they do generally require letters of recommendations, usually 1 or 2 letters of recommendations from teachers, and then a counselor recommendation as well. So they do have a common application requirement grid that looks something like this. So a student can just search a college name and they can find out when the application deadlines are, how much it costs, and then what other requirements are needed for that campus or for that application. We also have some information here about common applications questions, like when students start to fill in the common application. They do have some school-related questions that can be very challenging for students to answer. I always get emails in the middle of the night from students filling out their applications, and they're like, what is our CEB code number? Or, you know, which email should I use? And, or what semester or grading system are we on? So this has all that information and how to answer questions relating to the specifics on the common application. Like I mentioned earlier, most schools like the UCs and Cal States aren't using the SAT or ACT for admissions purposes. Most schools have moved away from either making it optional, or they call it test blind, not used at all. If you want a good resource to look at what schools are requiring the SAT or ACT, I would encourage you to go directly to the school's website. There's also fairtest.org, which is a website that lists specifics on which schools are still requiring the SAT or ACT or making it optional for students. If your student wants to take the SAT or ACT and haven't yet, generally there are a lot of campuses will accept test scores from a December test date. Not all of them, but most do. So even if a student has submitted their application in November and takes the SAT or ACT in December, and then gets their test scores later that month or early January, and their test scores arrive at the university at a different time, that's okay. So I would encourage students to look at the admissions websites for their prospective schools to see what their test score requirements are, if any, and if they want to take a test, that they still might have another month to do it, the December test date. But they would need to register late right now, because they have to register a month ahead of time and then pay some late fees if they are wanting to test. As of today, if you most students most campuses are test blind, and then if you aren't sure about what is the meaning between test blind and test optional, optional, there is a video here for clarification that breaks it down exactly for students. Okay, so as students are applying to campuses, we do use Naviance to help keep track of where students are applying, so we can help them the best that we can. So when a student is logged into the Ventura EDU website or their Google account, actually, we use single sign-on with Naviance, so that all they have to do is go into their Google waffle, and they can find the Naviance logo, which looks like this little star with the teal and gray colors. And we've asked all students to complete these tasks. So first log in and familiarize themselves with the tool. It gives them some tips for applying. It also shares information about which college campuses are visiting our campus. And then we also encourage students to click on the colleges applying to and input their prospective schools. And then also, if needed, to indicate if they're applying using the Common App or directly to the university, if it's a private or out-of-state school. So keeping that up to date is important and is useful for the counseling office, so we can make sure that we're helping students meet deadlines. Also, if a student is requesting for a letter of recommendation, we would encourage students to go into the About Me section and fill in the survey, the brag sheet under survey. And the brag sheet allows the student to essentially brag about themselves, talk about their extracurricular activities, the things that they enjoy most in life outside of school. And it's an opportunity for teachers and counselors to get to know the student a little bit more, so that we can write them the best recommendation possible. Also, if a student is needs a transcript sent to their prospective schools, that can be done through Naviance as well. So when they are inputting their colleges under the colleges I'm applying to, they can just check the box saying send my transcript, and we will send that electronically to their prospective school. So when you're in Naviance, I just did some screenshots. This might be a useful tool for some families. If you enter, like at the top of the screen, it'll say college. You can just enter any name of a school that a student might be interested in applying to, and it'll take their GPA, and depending on if they took the SAT or PSAT, you can toggle between that or the ACT, or it can just pinpoint their GPA. And then it will give them, this is for Boston University, and if you click on the admissions tab, this is where you'll find the scattergram, but you can see where that student would lie compared to other students that in the past have applied to this school and were either admitted, denied, or waitlisted. So if this is me in this little blue circle, I can see that the red X's, those are denied, the green check marks are admitted, and then the blue purple dots are waitlisted. So if this were me and I would be interested in applying to Boston University, I would know that this campus is probably a reach for me, because the majority of students are, even though we don't have too much data on this school, we can see that they have like a 4.5 or above GPA that were admitted. This is an example of a school that we have a little bit more data on. This is San Diego State University. So if a student has like a 3.0, they can see that their chances are probably slim of getting into that campus. But a student with like a 4.0 and above generally has a higher chance of getting into San Diego State. But San Diego State is a reach for any student, regardless of their GPA, just because it is a very impacted campus. But at least this can help students obtain more data on not necessarily all students that are applying to San Diego State, but these are foothill students that have applied to San Diego State, and what the results of their application were, depending on their GPA and SAT scores. When we go to Naviance, we can also look at something like this. If we typed in University of California, Santa Cruz, we can just look at an overview. The admissions tab is where I looked at this scattergram, and I can also look at the different majors and student life and clubs and dig deeper into cost. But you can look at the net price of the campus, so you can actually toggle between what, about what is your family income. If you said it was 30,000 or 75,000 to 110. So depending on what your family income is, this net price will change. You can look at 4 or 6 year graduation rates. So we're looking for a higher graduation rate. If you see a school with a graduation rate of like 20% in 4 year, that might be a school that you want to consider possibly looking at one that has a higher graduation rate of 4 years, or so that you're not spending too much money with an additional 2 years on campus, 1 or 2 years on campus to get your degree. Also look at the acceptance rate. If you want to look at college overlaps, you can see, like, based on which students applied to University UC Santa Cruz, what other schools did those students apply to? And then it also gives you application deadlines. So some very helpful information in Naviance, and we would encourage students to go into their Ventura EDU accounts, go into the Google Waffle, and explore Naviance a little bit more and update their college applications and use it as a research tool. In addition, students had done a lot of research in college and career over the past few years in Naviance, so they can go and look at, or parents can go in and look at what are some of their results in their Strengths Explorer and career inventories, and possibly provide some guidance with a student and what sort of majors might be interested in, and also some campus exploration as well. And counselors are willing to help students with that too. Getting into a little bit about the FAFSA and DREAM Act application. The DREAM Act application is also referred to as CATA, California DREAM Act application. This is a graduation requirement now. Let me stop this video. So I included little videos here where students or parents can look at how to fill out those applications. This is basically, it says, this says if you are filling out the FAFSA, which if you are a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, then you should be filling out the FAFSA. So if you do have a social security number, that the FAFSA is for you. If you are undocumented, do not have a social, then you're filling out the California DREAM Act application. When you're filling out either one, you'll answer a few questions at the beginning that will tell you, like, oh, this isn't the application for you. You should be filling out this other application. So it takes you through some questions to help answer. As you answer the questions, it'll tell you which application to fill out. But the majority of our students do fill out the FAFSA. I try to have my students try to fill it out by December 15th, because for some campuses, it's first come, first serve for aid. And so the sooner you get the application in, the better. And also when you're filling out the application, this little star here, or this little shout out, says to make sure when you're listing your campuses that you have at least one California school listed in that application, because that will trigger the state of California to look at Cal Grant eligibility, so more free aid for students. So make sure that you are adding at least one California school. In addition, there's only 10 spots for a student to fill in their colleges, their prospective schools. So the trick behind that is when students submit their FAFSA, and maybe they have 15 schools that they're applying to, and they want 5 additional schools to get a copy of their FAFSA. After you get the student aid report back from the FAFSA or the federal government, and it's confirmed that has been processed, you can go back in and you can delete your schools, because those schools would have already received your information, and then you can add your remaining 5 schools. So that's the trick behind that. So try to get this done by December 15th, but the state does say that you have until March 2nd to be considered for the Cal Grant application. So kind of a California deadline is March 2nd, but I try to make it December 15th just because the sooner the better. If you need support with any of that, the Cash for College event tomorrow at Santa Paula might be a good idea for you to attend so you can get some help from their financial aid officers in completing these essential forms. Also, if you are applying to a private university, they don't have access to federal funding, so the CSS profile is something that is an application that is produced by the College Board, so the same people that produce the SAT, and it is another financial aid form that you may be asked to complete. So if you go to CSS profile, you can see which universities are participating in this financial aid application. And this is to be completed now. And most schools have like a January through March deadline. But again, it is first come, first serve. So as far as the aid that you get, so the sooner you fill it in, usually the better for you and your student as far as getting the most aid possible. There is a little how-to video in the slideshow, so you can click on that if you are a parent that needs to fill in the CSS profile. That can help guide you through the steps. Believe it or not, it's a little bit more complicated than the FAFSA, and the FAFSA sometimes can be challenging for families. Scholarship information. So the majority of funding for the future education will come from your prospective schools, and that's based on the FAFSA or the DREAM Act application. So you'll get a expected family contribution report that will be sent to you eventually in after the first of the year, and then it will tell you based on your family income what you are expected to contribute and how much the university can contribute to your students' education. But sometimes that's not enough and gaps need to be filled. And so we do have a scholarship list that's posted by Ms. Fergus in our media center, and she updates it regularly. So we would encourage you to look at this Excel spreadsheet, the scholarship list that is specific, has many Ventura specific scholarships on there, as well as other national-wide scholarships. Another great opportunity for students is the VCCF scholarship. So that's the Ventura County Community Foundation scholarship. This will open up tomorrow and will be due on January 20th. And it does require recommendations, but these scholarships are specifically for Ventura County residents. So students have a better chance of actually being able to obtain one of these scholarships as opposed to more the McDonald scholarships or the Ronald Reagan scholarships, or it's actually Ronald Reagan is usually Ventura County, but other scholarships that are more nationwide. The VCCF scholarship is specific to Ventura County residents. We would also encourage students to look at Unigo, scholarships.com, or FastWeb to find more scholarships based on their unique qualities. It should give them ideas of which sort of scholarships to apply for. All right, so some important dates as far as college preparation are coming up. So I do have a link here for a month-by-month calendar for students. So students can look at this. We send this out usually at the beginning of each month, but they can look at it month by month. It tells them exactly what they need to be doing, along with some links to help them get to whatever site might be helpful to get that requirement done. So we would encourage students to post that somewhere important or to look at it at the beginning of each month and come and talk to their counselors if they have any questions. So November 30th is a very important deadline for those students that are applying to UCs or Cal States. We encourage students to try to get it done, their applications before November 30th, because on November 30th, there's always a system failure in the UCs and Cal States, and students get very frustrated with it. And so the system always crashes. So try to get it done before Thanksgiving so they can enjoy their break and hopefully have those applications submitted. November 15th, that's tomorrow, the VCCF scholarship will open and closes January 20th. There is a December, they call it a soft close date, where once they submit their application, I think it's December 9th, or around that date, it'll have it posted on the website. But if they submit it early, they will look at the application and provide students with more feedback on other things that they might be missing or things that they need for to complete their scholarship application. December 15th is kind of like my deadline for students. I try to encourage them to get their FAFSA or DREAM Act application completed by then. But again, March 2nd is kind of the real deadline for the Cal grant or for the state of California. January 1st is when the most private university application deadlines do have around a January 1st deadline. But the only reason why I posted that is because students always, during the December holidays, they always get started on their applications, and then they want a recommendation for a January 1st deadline for a private school, but then our teachers are offline, they're not checking their emails, so they can't meet the deadlines of submitting their recommendations on time. So encourage your student to do some forward thinking and try to let teachers know at least 3 weeks before winter break about any campuses that might have a January 1st or beyond deadline. Around March and April is when most college admissions decisions are finalized, including aid offers. So those will be coming through email and also in the student's portal that they will set up. So once they apply, they'll set up a portal for their prospective school. And so that information will be shared through their student's portal for that college. May 1st is a decision day for four-year college universities. So that's when students generally have to submit a intent to register and attend in the fall. So that's a very important deadline. And then here are some in June deadlines for seniors. So we do have finals that June 8th and 9th. June 12th, we have senior checkout, and they'll get their gowns and graduation tickets. And then June 12th, we'll have a senior barbecue. Oops. And then also we have graduation practice on the 13th. And then graduation is on June 14th. That was just decided just the other day. And so it'll be at 1:30 at the VC Stadium. Many families are still having questions about community service. So community service isn't required, but still strongly encouraged. And there's also some financial aid that if your student does community service in college, there's also grants and aid students can get just for their service to a community. So we'd encourage them to start that now, but hours can be submitted up through March 31st at 3. If they would go to Ms. Fergus if they want to be considered for awards for their community service. And so we have the specific silver, gold, platinum, and ruby awards for students that have dedicated many hours to community service during their high school time. So there's more information on our school's website under community service. So just some words of wisdom. Remember, for some of our administrators and counselors, they feel that this might be a good read for families. Where you go is not the who you'll be. And we're just trying to encourage students to take the wheel in this process and try to find a school that fits them and not necessarily find a school that just has the name recognition. We have a lot of students label shopping right now, and those schools might not be the best fit for students. So trying to look at the whole campus of what sort of career they want to go into, what sort of major they want to pursue, and then what sort of opportunities are there on that campus. So super important. Location is very important as well. Many students are excited to leave California and they want the East Coast opportunity of the change of seasons, but we see many of those students back after just a semester because they can't handle the climate of anything other than Ventura. So something to consider when students are making those choices. Graduation is, as I mentioned, June 14th at 1 o'clock. Each graduate will receive 8 tickets. And so gates will be open 45 minutes before the ceremony begins. So just some details we thought we'd share today. If you haven't ordered your cap and gown for your student at jostens.com yet, we would encourage you to do that. You can buy or borrow. All seniors will wear black. And then if a student is borrowing a sibling's gown, make sure that they purchase a tassel. And then there was something sent home last week, a Google form that a student must complete, letting us know if they're buying or renting a cap and gown so we can have that squared away by June. Well, actually, we try to square it away by March. We do have an academic signing day that usually happens around May 1st to recognize every student that is moving on from Foothill. So and we recognize students in the military that are pursuing military, trade school, UC, whatever. This is a day of a celebration for students, and we'll keep you posted on that specific date. We encourage all of our students to finish strong. The admissions decisions of their prospective schools are not set in stone. So if a student does not complete the courses that they put on their application and complete them in a strong fashion, then they can resend their application admissions. So always encourage students to do their best and show their strengths as they move through their senior year. I know that's easier said than done, and I rarely have a student get their application or their admissions decisions rescinded, but it has happened, so it's important to point out. If you need more resources, I know we're running short on time. I have included some of my favorites here, so if you'd like to explore this a little bit more, we have the newsletter from the College and Career Center that's always beneficial. That gives you updated information on who's visiting our campus that's college and career related, and then also provides scholarship information and other important details. If a student is thinking about, like, they don't have the slightest idea what sort of career they want to go into, I like the free career test on careerexplorer.com. Kind of fun for families to sit down and do together as well. It takes about 30 minutes, but it's a very extensive test. Also, if you need assistance narrowing down like a college list, so if a student is all over the place as far as what colleges they are applying to, but hasn't put much thought into it, or maybe hasn't narrowed down their list to maybe just a few select schools, like a safety, a good fit, and then possibly a reach school. College Vine is a great website, and they have a admissions calculator. So if you go to their website, you scroll down a little bit towards the bottom of the page and it'll say calculate your chances for free. Students will need to create an account, and there are some paid services on here, but don't sign up for the paid services unless you really want to. But basically they can put in information about themselves, including extracurricular things that they've done, clubs that they've been involved in, how many AP classes they've taken, and it will tell them what their chances are of getting into that school. So it'll give them strong GPA, coursework is strong, extracurriculars, room for improvement, and it'll break it down to, like, these are your reach schools, these are a safety school. So a great resource. I've signed up for an account. I don't pay anything, but it also sends me information on different webinars and helpful information they're having, like information on like how to make the decision to apply early or early decision, information on how to create the best essay. So there's lots of helpful information on College Mind. There's also some other great resources. The Department of Education has information about safety of college campuses, so you can compare the safety of the schools that your student is considering. There's also the college scorecard where you can look at a particular major for a school and other details, and you can see, the average income of a college graduate from that school in a particular major. So it's all kinds of details at this website for college scorecard. And then we also have an insider guide to admissions video if you're looking at like getting the perspective from an admissions counselor at some challenging schools. You can look to see what they say they're looking for in applicants. And then there's also a website here for selecting a major. So if you have questions, I'd be happy to stick around for a few moments and try to ask them. Usually I have my colleagues here with me tonight, but they weren't able to make it, so try to answer the questions as best I can. But we are going to post it on our website and I'll send it out. So if you need to watch any parts of it, then feel free to watch it in the video that I'll be sending. So thank you for attending, and feel free to hang out if you'd like to ask any specific questions, or also email your student's school counselor and we're happy to help. Students can also drop by and get help with their applications as well, or schedule an appointment with their counselor to go through their college applications individually if they would like some one-on-one help. Okay, so thanks again for attending and have a great night.